Hello, ladies and gentle beavers, and welcome back, after a slight false start there, to more Timberborn. Nope, more Timberborn. There we go. So, when we left off last time, I do believe we were discussing the possibilities for setting up our second district. So we've kind of gotten moderately self-sufficient up here, up top. We have a lot of spare beavers all ready to go. And I think we were looking at either down here or over here as our possibilities. However, after a little bit of reflection and inspecting the map, I think we might actually be setting up our second district over here, and much closer to the first, and this can act as a staging post to head out this way and down this way. So, the reason I was thinking this, kind of the reason I initially discarded it, was the lack of food, whereas we have plenty of berries up there and up there. We only have a few measly little, mostly dead bushes right down here, away from where I'd want to build the settlement proper. But we can trade food from our primary settlement, and looking at the lay of the land here, we have some metal, which we quite desperately want to get running sooner rather than later, and we have this large basin through here. If I were to block off here, and then put a little retaining wall along the edge of here, we could flood this entire area, and that would hopefully irrigate parts of this and this plateau, which would get us a lot more farmable land, easily arable too, rather than these little steps leading up and down, and leave us plenty of space to help build further dams kind of down here and eventually backfill up this river and kind of get a big reservoir down in here eventually. We'll probably never run into water troubles from that point on. So, as part of doing this, however, I do still need to get down there, regardless of which direction we're hoping to get. So, first things first will be to get some stairs down, set up a district center, and at least get beavers established. If I have builders operating from here, help kind of construct, they'll make things go much quicker, hopefully. So, keeping in mind we're eventually going to flood all this, I'm thinking we probably want the district center up on this plateau, maybe up here. This will involve figuring out a way past these birch trees. We might have to destroy one to make space for the stairs up. But that shouldn't be too difficult. So, how are we going to handle this? I think just using this as a little step down is probably the most efficient way to handle this. Just going to order steps, steps, steps. And a double platform there. We'll need to unlock that. Is this the most efficient way to do this? Ooh, sudden sneeze. Very sorry about that. Hopefully I managed to get away from the microphone there. Yeah, I am thinking this is still probably just the best location for this. Oh, maybe I want to go closer to the end. If I were to put some stairs here, 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 here. I don't think that's the most efficient, but I think I like how that looks a little bit better. Or do I? No, the single continuous stairway rather than the small one. Change my mind once again. Just demolish those buildings. Please not start constructing those. My apologies to that builder who I think I see trying to build those stairs. Double platform, yes, we'll unlock that. 150 science, we'll want that sooner rather than later anyway. And here they come. So we'll kind of get down here, escape off our initial little terrace. And then it's a matter of getting up here. So we'll have plenty of birch trees initially. These oaks should also provide a lot of wood, along with a few birch trees muddled in between. So I probably want the stairs up down near the bottom. Could we get up here? We can. That at least helps. I mean, somewhat, I'm not going to be able to get builders in there to construct. Not through these trees, so I might just be setting up the district. Yeah, I am just going to need to tear down some of these plants, I reckon. Yeah, I'll assign some beavers just to push through these birch trees. It's only one log a piece, so... So we'll just let these beavers work away. You can see they can reach down to there, get the platform, stairs being assembled. We'll just keep slowly expanding down. I can probably get another woodcutter set up down here and actually salvage some of these logs. That seems like a good idea. So if I want to cut some of these trees to make this workable, I think just, yep, a little stripe like that. Just focus on getting some of these paths. Which one did I select? Yes, innermost lane. And then we'll get a lumberjack flag ordered to be set up. You'll be able to reach the whole way. Nice and easy. And once this district is set up, we will need the district crossing, which is only 600 science. We'll readily be able to afford that. And this will let our two districts exchange resources with each other once that's established. See, you are doing a good job of keeping a nice number of oak trees in position. Keep everyone happy. I probably would like to try and irrigate some of this area out here at some point. That's probably a bit of a later concern. Just keep you busy. Let's get a few more oak trees planted in. From there, we can do up along here as well. It was a bit difficult telling if this stuff is irrigated or not, but we'll see if those spots can get some more oak trees in. Almost down. Speed up time a bit. Yeah, I think we're pretty self-sufficient up here for now. And this 2-deep reservoir should hopefully contain enough water to keep us through droughts and bad tides at this stage of the game. Bad tides redirected out. We have good for food, good for water income, it looks like. We do chew through a lot of water though. I might want another pump somewhere. Already on 3. No, the Ironteeth seem much, much more difficult to keep up with water supplies than the folktales. You're less efficient gathering water, and you need more of it. Not a great combination. Look at that, the builders can actually reach all the way out here. Oh, that is lovely. They can reach that far at least. A couple of paths in here, and they should be able to get that bit further still. Yeah, we'll be able to get the new district up sooner rather than I thought. Yeah, once those stairs are in place, then we'll just need to set up the district crossing. District crossing... Top of the stairs, bottom of the stairs, probably bottom of the stairs, just to leave this a bit more open if I want to do some more engineering up top side. Oh yeah, nothing to do in range. We'll fix that momentarily. So there we go. Ready for... Okay, let's get the district crossing in first. Potentially this could end up being re-terraformed a bit later on. We might end up with like a bridge leading down here and then another dam up in here that might be more efficient, but the district crossing can just go down at the bottom of the stairs at this moment. We'll need to delete you. Delete you. District crossing. Wonderful, wonderful. That'll be 30 logs, 15 planks. We actually have logs in storage now. Frabjous state, so that shouldn't be too bad. And then a new district center. Let's just get the path in here so we can see what you'll be reaching more efficiently. Maybe not right on the edge. Yeah, probably wise not to do it right on the edge so I can build something behind easier if I decide that seems necessary. There we go. Look at that range. We could even send builders up to build up here from this district if we wanted to. So, lumberjack flag. Now, this district will just be being supplied by food from up here. But we will probably want to get our own crops grown sooner rather than later. We can just clear fell all this forest. Can't reach up there yet, but certainly will be able to soon. Let's just assign everything to be cut. We'll need to relocate that flag at some point. And we'll need to start migrating a couple of beavers over here. So, migration management. So, especially with the fact we're using these breeding pods, and down here won't be able to get any breeding pods. I think... Ah yes, I was looking at district names. I was thinking terrace top here, but... on reflection, I think a better name for this top area might be topside, and then District 2 will come up with a name for it at some point in the future. But meantime, so from topside to District 1. District 1, we want to keep a minimum of, let's just say, 4 beavers at the moment. Now, Void topside 7, we'll just assign you a minimum of 12 beavers, and we can adjust those numbers in a bit. Now, some beavers should automatically send themselves over here to live. Yeah, look at that. Moving to their new home. And hopefully this will get constructed in time for them to receive the goods they need to live. So the other thing you guys will probably want to be producing for yourselves, along with wood, is water. A deep water pump somewhere seems wise. The easiest place is probably just to stick it over here for now. See if we get a dam over here. Probably the best place to do this initially. We'll probably want floodgates rather than dams, really. Yeah, floodgates are just strictly better. Yeah, and these lumberjacks will just keep working. I might even get a second lumberjack flag in just to help make this go a bit faster. Yeah, assign you there. And then we can get a deep water pump set up here, just get some drinking water in. Once this is filled up as an actual reservoir, we'll probably want to move that into the deeper water. But again, temporary measures while we're getting established. Once this is built, we'll need to migrate some more beavers over here. Let's get up to 7 down here. Okay, and you're now at as much as you can support. Yeah, you have 25 workers. Why did I think... Yeah, we don't want you to go below 25 if we can avoid it. Ah, yes, that is why we had the spike up. So I reckon we can just get by with fewer beavers working on the district crossing. Yeah, and as you can see, they're already starting to transfer food across Make sure the beavers down here have something to eat. Yeah, and those beavers will just keep slowly chewing through our wood stocks here. Get down all these birch trees. And getting a forester down here pretty promptly probably also be a good idea. Just up here is probably the area we'll be foresting and recutting trees, because once this is built, we'll kind of get our fields up here and maybe up here. And so this area can be for timber generation. 10 and 7. You're fully used to the full extent you can. You're starting to get some unemployed beavers. I am looking at how little water running up with spare here. These things are filling up. I think it might just be a hauling issue. If you get a hauling station, that might be a good idea. You know, the sooner we can get the oaks planted, the better. Why do I want to squeeze you in? I kind of want to squeeze it in right there. So we'll just wait for this beaver to cut down this birch tree. Wait for the beaver to cut down the birch tree. Adorable little things, aren't they? There we go. Forester in there. Well, aeroplane flying low overhead. Don't know if the microphone picked that up. Possibly not. It should be pretty good against that noise, but it was quite low and loud. I'm still not too certain how fast these things kind of operate. These breeding pods. Because each of these breeding pods is going to keep us at a certain number of beavers. Just the steady income off it. Just demolish that little patch there. Eventually the bushes will spread in of their own accord, I think. Regardless, we're keeping a good stock of berries. You guys just keep chopping through this. We can extend the path down there a bit. Now, how do I get you to prioritize? Just cut in the correct location. Let's just refine our cutting area slightly. You'll probably still preferentially go for the trees up here. Oh well, again, we'll get to it eventually. Migrate population. Let's get you up to minimum of 9. Yep, so that gets that thing occupied. Want to get some oaks planted and ready. Where do we want to leave? We probably want to leave a spare space for eventually reaching the district over here. The bridge is likely going to be there, so quite close to this gate, so we can just run this like this. Get a bunch of oak trees planted, please, mate. The sooner those go in the ground, the sooner they'll be ready. And the sooner they're ready, the happier we are. Sava. Are our farmers keeping up? They might be struggling slightly. Yeah, I'm just looking at our current food storage, because we don't want to run out of food. Now, as you keep filling up, we will want to get Probably want to get an industrial pile storage for the logs. Honestly, just slot it in here seems like a half-decent spot for them. So we'll just order that done. And then we'll want to get a storage tank for the water as well. Which we can maybe just tuck in here, up next to our district center. Look at them working away. We're kind of keeping a bit of a stock of kohlrabi. We don't have much in my food storage. If I get some actual storage in, that might help out the efficiency here a bit. Since we are starting to meet the amount of workers I actually have, I will unpause this breeding pod. Let's see, kohlrabi storage over here? Sure. And kohlrabi farms over here. Which one are you? You are cassava. Yeah, ready to eat. There we go. Starting to fill up our log storage here. We need to keep working away as well. We do have a bunch of unoccupied beavers. I really want to get these row houses down since they seem much easier to work with than these barracks. But again, these things cost a lot of science. I mean, it's only 180 for this small row house, which is a bit taller, but only occupies 2/3 of the space of one of these to lodge the same amount of beavers. Well, let's get row houses unlocked. See if I can start doing some work with these. But I could build 2 row houses in here, which I probably would not mind doing. I mean, we have all this unused space out the back. Probably the thing to do. So we'll get a row house there and a row house there. Get some more beavers in shelter. Make everyone a bit happier, a bit longer lived. You can keep chewing away at these trees. Eventually, we'll be able to get to work on these floodgates. I might just assign them the work for now. These floodgates will be a little bit annoying to reach, just because... Yeah, just because you can't walk across the top of these, not like dams. On that note, I reckon the way to actually handle this is to get some stairs down here. Tree cutting area, cut down that tree. Just cancel all these other trees for the moment. Try and make certain you cut the correct one. And we get a flight of stairs in there. And then the beavers can walk down these stairs into the river. And then our builders can reach these. Lovely, lovely. And so eventually we'll want to tear these out, places levees, and probably build up this little plateau a bit and kind of make this another reservoir, because we have all this deep space down here that I would like to fill with water, and for that we're going to need to raise the water level a bit. Row houses going up. Better rows than burrows. I do like the row houses as a bit of a signifier for the industrialization of the Ironteeth, as opposed to the folktales. Because it might just be me, it might be a bit of a divorce from general Britishness, and I know kind of what they symbolize in Britain, why they use that way, but when I think of row houses, I think of the Lord of the Rings, Scouring of the Shire, and of Sharky, Saruman's influence on the Shire. He sets up row houses to rehome the hobbits in. as he's industrializing the whole place. And that's very, you know, rural England, industrial revolution, all the old villages getting torn down, replaced by industrialized cities with these row houses in them. And yeah, I really like these as a signifier of the Ironteeth's culture. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Path in place. Position. Thank you. Now we might need to get a storage unit in order to actually get planks down here. Because oh no, they will import them on their own. There is a whole system for managing how goods are imported and exported. It's not something I've ever really looked at too closely. The beavers seem to be pretty good at managing it on their lonesome without too much input on my part. Now, with the amount of logs we're getting up here, getting this large water wheel sooner rather than later might be a good idea, because this just seems, I mean, 120 horsepower per cubic meter per second to 140. This is larger, but even for that larger footprint, this seems markedly more efficient. So if I tear out some of these structures, replace them with the large ones, that would be a good idea. I do probably also want to get extra storage so we can store more planks. Where do I want to stick you? How about some of that kohlrabi? Stick the plank storage in there? Possibly? Yeah. Impinging slightly on our farming area. Yeah, you break that. It's been sitting on 100 for a moment. There it goes. And a large industrial pile for planks, because we can only store the 20 planks in our sawmill's current, well, 13 planks here in its current inventory, then a handful down here in the district crossing. So we want a larger buffer. Because as our civilization gets more advanced, we'll find ourselves using a lot of planks. Running so low on water too. Yeah, you just have an outstanding vacancy now, labor-wise. What are we currently looking at? District crossing. Well, so let's unpause you as well. We'll get some more beaver kits, and then the next thing we probably want to get down here is a hauling post. Because this will massively improve the efficiency. I'm pretty sure the lack of haulers is what's limiting our water intake at the moment, rather than actually the amount of pumps. Beavers sleeping on the ground. Drought approaching, 3 days. See, these are getting constructed. Halfway done on that one. And these guys will just keep chewing away at these. Forester is still steadily planting more oaks. Let's fill in some of the gaps we've opened up. Keep things looking somewhat neat. Yeah, I like that. Including that gap, please. Yeah, and these oaks are really starting to grow in now. We've got a good cycle going. Some oaks grow, and kind of those get cut down and then restart growing. And by the time those are done, the next wave is through. So our woodcutters up here are just going to keep us in logs from this point on. Now, plank storage, which will help keep this all good and alive. Yeah, our kohlrabi storage isn't filling up that quickly. More farmers might be necessary. We are kind of keeping on top of our current income of crops, though. Honestly, yeah, irrigating out here somewhat would be nice. But that's really going to take a decent investment in resources. We'll need a fluid dump. I mean, my experience with setting up these little holes like this is on my other save is just using dynamite to blast craters in the ground. But I wonder if just setting up levees and then filling up a little above ground reservoir would also work for irrigation. At least our berry income is going to keep us through, even if our better foods aren't, because we are completely full up on berry storage with lots out in the field still. An injured beaver. Yep. We're in the medical tent, recovering. We have, well, yep, all the resources delivered to this last floodgate. We just need a bit of beaver hours put into it. Good, good, good. And we'll raise the height of you right up to 0.95, so just below overflowing. There we go. Oop, that is in fact overflowing slightly, just a bit of a backup. As soon as it hit the limit, it's splashed out over the shore slightly as the build-up here was too much. It should hopefully settle into the channel more or less. Yes, it did. There, you can see this managed to fill up with this amount of water just from that. Still getting a bit of overflow on the banks. And with the drought coming up, I'll just leave it 0.95. Try and keep as much water in here as possible. In future, we might want to lower that slightly to avoid this. Yeah, because that's happening regularly. I was left with a considerably healthier quantity of water. So, logs up there. These guys will start exporting logs down here. So I reckon sooner rather than later, we probably want to get our work down here underway. So, too high a cliff here that we will inevitably need to scale. Having it way down from here seems quite prudent. Stairs, stairs. Now we'll need to set up along here and then right along the top of this ridge line and in this gap here. Now the drop down here means let's just, before we start worrying about that faraway place, let's start getting levees set up along here. Levees, levees, levy. See if we can get our builders to work on all of those. Really don't need that little path there. Yep, and they can reach all of that. And this will be our next big investment for our timber. We have all the oaks we're cutting down up here will get exported down and then put to work. You can see the amount of irrigated land kind of moving back and forward as the water climbs up over the bank here. We've almost filled up that. Kohlrabi. Some more cassava plants might not go astray. The cassava is... yeah, it takes a bit longer to grow and is just about as efficient, I think, so get another cassava field in there. Because our fermenter is not always being made use of, so... this thing processes quite quickly. 4 plants every 2 hours. These only produce 1 plant each, so... you don't need many fermenters to keep up with a lot of crops. And let's see how bad this drought will be. For 8 days. They're starting to pick up. Yeah, this is almost certainly going to run dry. But hopefully the bit of water we've stored up here and a bit of a reservoir up here will keep us alive. I do wonder, if all your beavers die and you have breeding pods almost ready to go. I mean, trouble is the beavers that come out will be kits, won't they? So they won't be able to get any more water or food. And if all your beavers are dead, it's because you've ran out of one of those. So I was half wondering if you could recover from losing all your beavers this faction, but probably not, no. As you can see, this is starting to go lovely. Yeah, we have one spare worker up here. No spare workers up here. Yeah, having all of the breeding pods active at the moment, I think, is a good idea. Hopefully. They do make us chew through water, don't they? Like, look at how fast this water level is dropping. We're almost down to the top of the dam. Once this reservoir's in, that'll give us a big boost to our water reserves. And then we can export water from here back up topside if need be. Long term, if we build this up higher, we could potentially do something with like overhangs. Yeah, like overhangs are structures that under here, like let us build like this. We can expand the practical amount of top side we have over here and build up walls there and kind of have an expanded reservoir hanging out over the side here. You could also like really build up levees all the way from the base here, but that would be a bit more of an engineering project. Yeah, and these berry bushes are going to come very, very close to dying. Might even lose some of them by the end of this drought. The trees will live a bit longer. Okay, so we are running out of stuff for these to do. Get some more oak trees in, please. Let's plant along the back there. And I might want some buildings in that little square, so we'll leave that un-oak treed. So we might as well get some oak trees. I think in along here. Yeah, some oak trees in this corner. Now, if we could salvage some wood from down here, that would not be bad. Yeah. But this would get in the way of our levee constructing operations. And will be somewhat difficult to reach. We might just leave off that at the moment, rely on our wood supplies exported from topside. Let's just siphon out some of the excess water from up here. Help make this reservoir last a bit longer. We have, yeah, beavers dying of old age. Luckily 6 kits waiting to grow up. And levees over here almost done. So as we keep landscaping, we'll need to get some levees in here. Probably as close to the edge as we can. Just get the most surface area in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems good. Path leading right down. levees. Kind of a bit annoying that this is not going to be a straight line because of this indent here. But we shall endure. That is a dam. That is not a levee. Stop that. No. I did build levees rather than dams over here, right? Yes, I did. Okay, yeah, so we'll actually want to leave it off there just to make this structure a bit simpler to achieve. And that's an expensive chunk since we need to go 3 high. Yeah, and this will fill to 1 high, and then we'll just keep working away. Increase the height we're operating at. And we'll just do like that, like that. Last stretch, like that. Once all of this is done, this will eventually fill up. And without a way for the water to get out, it will just overflow over the edge naturally in every direction. But that's okay. We can actually bother adding some floodgates once we get up to the height that we want it to be stable at. So, which is 1 above this level. More workers would make that go faster. I don't think we need as many workers up here. I just decrease the amount of desired workers here. Increase them here. Manage population. Yeah, I want you on a minimum of 10 now. And those should auto-migrate. Not quite yet. So it'll drop you to 23 workers desired. There we go. And that should help us out a bit. Actually, if we drop even further, just to 22 workers desired. Yep, and now this district is running better. Because there's just builder hours at this point. Our wood income is steady enough to keep up with the rate we're constructing. Most of the way through the drought, or very nearly, kind of at the end of the stay, we'll be halfway through. And these ruins will give us a good chunk of metal. Right next to this district, so metal working when we get to it. Yeah, with this metal smith, which just takes raw scrap metal, a few logs to make metal parts. This smelter, 2 scrap metal and some logs to make metal blocks. Cool, cool, cool. Just the other stuff we have, yeah, trapper shacks, gear workshops. I probably want to get gears under construction sooner rather than later. If I replace one of these with a big water wheel, we might be able to combine the gear and the lumber mill into kind of one complex up there. Because gears are just cut from wood rather than cut from metal in this game. Yeah. If we manage to get one of our woodcutters to take down one of these birch trees, we could replace it with an oak tree. And we still are just surviving off our berries, more or less. And we are getting cassava in, but with no water flowing, we can't process it at the fermenter. We are getting some kohlrabi harvested. Water levels so much. Like surface area on these dams exposed. Yeah, the jump up to 8 days was not that good for us, but we'll endure. Honestly, at this point, I think we probably want bad tides rather than droughts. Because bad tides are effectively the same as droughts for us, but will last for a less period of time. Yeah, those are all done. Guys are working away on this. So when it comes to... Actually, yeah, we are running out of building space. So we need to get some paths down. Now, to get this up to the second level, the beavers should just be able to work from the ground for the most part. But to cross this channel, we will need to do some stuff with stairs. I am thinking... I am hoping they'll be able to reach 3 down. And from the top here, and then work their way down. This will let us just work like this for the meantime. And then when we build the second layer, we'll just remove these paths and do a similar sort of thing. Yeah, this little section might be a tad annoying to build on the second layer. We'll just see how it works out, though. Now, unfortunately, I can't really afford to get houses or anything here because I want my builders always working on building this levee. So they're just going to need to be a bit sad. Next, we're building tier. Honestly, getting shelter up would probably be worth it, though. Yeah, just for the bonus work speed. Bonus work speed, it'll make them longer lived. Yeah. So, a couple of row houses. Don't know where we want these. We can just put these over here. We'll assign them as a slightly higher priority. Get our beavers somewhere to live. Still got a bit of water for these pumps to operate in. Honestly, I'm a tad surprised this water endured this long. I was suspecting this reservoir to really be drained. Right, you can see what difference these pumps make, though. With the 3 pumps operating on this side, none on that side, that is the amount of water that has gone into these pumps. Yeah, if I didn't have the dams, we would have more drinking water, but if the entire reservoir went, these dams are the thing keeping these blueberries and some of our crops alive. As we can see, we now have spaces to sleep. Some of these beavers are starting to get a bit up in age. I'm trying to remember how long they live. I think they do live for about 60, so Bobbin here is likely to die quite shortly. Now, we likely don't need 2 of these lumberjacks. So if I just demolish that lumberjack flag. And what would I want to set you on over here instead? Your wood cutting reaches right the way down to there. Let's get some... maybe not in there, in here. Yeah, we'll get some more oak trees planted too. Leave a gap along this edge because I'll probably stick some levees in there at some point. And this one lumberjack should be able to tend most of that. Yeah, various people sleeping in various locations. Our log storage up here is still continuing to fill up. You need some more beds. Let's see, medium tanks. While I have excess kind of logs up here, nothing for these couple of workers to do. How would I go about rearranging this? I reckon we can afford to spend the 200 science points. We have some planks, not really enough to get this going. We'll need to wait for this lumber mill to get us up to at least 80 planks, because if we tear out its power source and can't replace it, then we're hardly getting this large water wheel built. Yeah, this will just be a bit of a complete re-engineer, I reckon, to squeeze this in. But will be worth it. And once that's done, we can get a gear workshop in. And then with the gear workshop, we can start getting these medium tanks and general slightly more advanced buildings. Yep, you see water starting to flow in with the end of the drought. Look how fast that's moving. Slowly filling up the level here. Very fast forward, you can see the water level climb, climb, climb. Eventually reach the top of these dams and start filling in here. There we go. Water starts flowing through, got the flow. Water wheels go, and we've got the cassava being fermented. This fills up. And that is overflowing. Yeah, we do just want to drop the height of these a bit, I reckon. Let's go down to 0.8. Just we're less likely to have annoyances like building flooding and trees not growing because they're busy being drowned. Okay, and you guys can build from the base up here. Bit worried about that. Lovely, lovely to see that working. Why are you only flown out of this one? There we go. Oh. Yeah, this thing is backing up quite badly. Even with you like that. If we drop you to 0.5 quickly. The thing is, I don't really think that raising and lowering these isn't actually changing the amount of water they let through. I don't think. Maybe it is, like, at 0.6, for example, these will let in then 0.4 cubic meters of water per second through each of these. Whereas if we do 0.7, this will drop us to, yeah, less than 0.1 cubic meter of water, which looks like it might be too low. If we do 0.6, that'll let through 1.2 cubic meters of water per second, which seems to be enough to stop this from backfilling. It's almost filling up here, and the water level flows up and down a bit variably. That's more or less keeping us safe. Now, once this channel is full, though, we are going to start seeing some flooding down on this bottom section, but that is fine and acceptable. I want to start cutting down some of these birch trees. That's something this lone beaver up here could do. This will divert a tiny bit of builder time, but not much. Just get a... not the workplace, the construction site, please, on priority. These things have flown away. 50 planks in storage. You beavers just keep working. Yeah, cassava. Managing to get some fermented cassava in storage. Still not much in the way of kohlrabi. Yeah, getting this cropland functional will help shore up our food supplies. Quite lovely. As you can see, with that done, the water now fills up to here and is flooding this section. Flowing out over all of this. And then once this is done, it'll only flow through here, but then once this is all walled in, it will start flooding out over this plane and this section. Yeah, you are done. Let's just cut down all these growing birch trees if you can. As dead as they are, even if this land gets re-irrigated at some point, it won't make the trees undie. Oh, that's even close enough that you can reach it, so I didn't even need to build this second lumberjack. Well, I had the spare beaver anyway, so... $60 planks. I reckon once we have a buffer of 100, 110, we'll start working on overhauling our energy system over here. That's interesting. So we've lost one blueberry in the middle. Yeah, my initial, that's interesting. I thought this blueberry was on the dead zone, and so would be dying, but no, it is counting as watered, even there. It's just on the edge of the irrigated area. And when we get to taming the bad water, and redirecting that around, that's going to be a lot of work, because this is a really extensive system of rivers here. This is such a sad water source. I mean, look at this. 2 water source blocks, and they accomplish almost nothing in this little gully. You can kind of see the bit of map maker's intention here, though. If you kind of block up here, and then remove these blockages, the water will backfill to here, make this entire canyon quite a deep reservoir, and then spill down and fill here, giving you lots of irrigated land. That'll be a fun engineering project when we get to it. Beavers laboring. Let's just assign those labors as well. $82. Work, work, work. Not even making a dent in our log stockpile. Yeah, beaver's starting to die of old age, and we're starting to get vacancies in our employment system. Wonder who's getting cut from all this. Okay, one of our lumber workers. One of our farmers. We don't really want the farmers cut, but... Who would I preference no longer working if I had the option to? Honestly, most of our workers here are essential. I might preference one of the inventors. We need a lot of science, so I'd like one to always be on, but... yeah, no available workers in district. That is fine. Because we need that lumber mill working away. Yeah, almost going to start backfilling up. Yeah, look how high the water's getting, even when we're just down to one fully open position. There's a lot of force in this river. Even just coming from the 2 water source blocks back here. We could get a lot of hydropower out of this. There we go. Builders are loving working in these conditions. Oh, these trees will drown. Yeah, and that's about as far as the spillage goes, not spreading any further. Not in preference to flowing down here. A little bit further. Was that just evaporation? And you can see this is all starting to green already. Actually getting farmers on this side is going to be a little bit of a logistical challenge. How would I want to do that? Like a farmhouse over here needs to get up onto this platform. Ways we could approach that. Platform, stair, stair. We have the farmers just swim down into the water, then swim across. That might be the way to do it. Other option we have is to unlock a suspension bridge. Place to do that would probably be over here. Like we would need a couple of threes, would work quite nicely. 24 planks, 24 logs. Suppose that the stairs down from this side, if I wanted to make this straight, would need quite a few logs. Is probably more efficient to just do... I mean, I might even want 2 routes across here, so I might end up doing both, but just a suspension bridge across this area. And then small houses out here, and then the farmers can just start farming on this side. Even farm around these ruins a little bit, maybe. Yeah, we're up to 3 vacancies here. Yeah, these breeding pods were possibly off for a bit long. Okay, yeah, we're coming up to the amount of planks we were looking at, 118. So, how do I want to tackle this? We will want to get rid of the compact water wheel here to start with. So you see, so why don't you want to work? Yeah, these things are quite annoying to place. So to place this, we need 2 spaces free from this axle. This axle needs to rest on a solid surface. Yeah, so you're currently blocked by these stairs. So I think this one is probably going to be the easier to replace, the 2. We'll need to re-engineer this somewhat, but we can manage that. We'll need to transmit power between these 2 buildings. Which might really require vertical power shafts, which will take years to start working on. So you might just be down a fermenter for a bit. I reckon we have enough stuff. And we can just start demolishing these things. Just keep this paused so you're not down too long. Yep, we need to delete this platform, which will necessitate deleting that path. Oh, you aren't fitting in there. Why not? If I delete these things, because we're almost only going to need to do that anyway. Do you fit? No. Oh, that is bad. Why don't you fit? Okay, I'm just going to need to delete this industrial sawmill then completely. Are you too low down? Maybe I shouldn't have deleted that. All just a process of learning. No, that also doesn't work. Okay, so that was not the problem. What? Is it the paths? Never occurred to me the paths could physically block that, but that might be what is happening, in which case I deleted a bit too much for no reason. Okay, that still doesn't work. Yeah, I think you are too low down, so we did... Never mind, I have not done anything too horrible here. Okay, so... Big... Yep, water wheel there. Then we shall need... So, both our woodworkers here, an industrial lumber mill. And... Let's see... Industrial lumber mill and a gear workshop, which we will unlock, can fit Yeah, they'll need to go one up so they connect up to this, like here and then next to this once the stairs are gone. I will need to keep those stairs in to work on this water wheel in the first place. And then I think they'll connect directly to the fermenter too. So just this bit of engineering for the moment will keep everything intact. Yep, so we shall need platforms like this. Let's see, and then probably just to secure the entrance of these things. Yeah, another platform further out and then some stairs leading up to it. Now, pathing here will be a bit suboptimal, but once the gear workshop is in next to this structure, we will have platform, that's where the entrance to the gear workshop will be, and a platform there, stairs here, path. Okay. And hopefully I did kind of space this correctly so we'll have enough planks, just in case. These things are lower priority, so we'll leave those till later. And we did have a small plank storage already, which I had forgotten about. Soon that water will be done. Ah, you guys have finished up the work here. Okay, bit of lost work time, but we can make up for that. Get those in. Get... Okay, yeah, so all of those, and we'll need to build up along here as well. Yeah, look at this reservoir as it's in. 1 deep, and then we'll get 2 deep. And we'll have a lovely expanse of water. How do I want to build up here? Let's see. How do I want to build up here? I mean, before I actually get on this, do I want water coming from this side of the reservoir in addition to this side? Let's just kind of see where water would flow. Build up to here. So at this point, this just flows down into this bad water. A flow of water from here would just flow down into this bad water. Yeah, I don't think we really gain anything from redirecting this river. Other sources of fresh water over here. With this one, there's a bad water source right there. It'll be a bit difficult to redirect in a way that it doesn't do that. And I don't think I have a really strong reason to try and settle this location. If I were to get fresh water in here, I might do something with this river. So I think for now, just keeping floodgates on this end is probably the thing to do. I'll just build levees here. So if I want to do this, can you reach that? You cannot. Yes, and that is not just because it is too far away from the path, it is because it is too high. So we shall need to figure that one out. Yeah, we need to get beavers on top of this. which means we need beavers using planks probably. So yeah, we'll just wait till this is done for the moment before doing that, and we'll just work on the levee over here, where we can reach the top readily. You can see that water wheel spinning away, 410 output. That is tasty. Yep. And they're working on getting this done. We have one unemployed beaver, but we don't need that location anymore, so that sorts itself out. Yeah, a little bit filled up in here, and as you can see, this doesn't accomplish too much. It's not a great stretch of land that ends up irrigated or anything. The irrigation is starting to sneak up here. There we go, lumber mill, operational. Now, if we want to get a gear structure running, which I think we probably do, want to delete this path as well. And if I also delete that path, you would fit in there, which is slightly cheaper to manage. Yep, so we build like that. Gears. Path. Lovely. And there'll be a gear workshop. As you can see, all these buildings are highlighted blue. They're all part of the same power network. Power goes from water wheel. Yep, into here. And then transfers to this building, transfers to that building. And this will burn through most of our remaining planks, but that's news too. Another drought. I don't think we've seen a single bad tide so far, have we? Quite unusual. I'm used to kind of droughts and bad tides occurring at pretty much like a 1-to-1 ratio. They're like drought, drought, bad tide, drought, bad tide, drought, bad tide. Kind of like that. Yeah, look at that thing go. A lot of power. How are our oak trees coming along down here? Most of the way fully grown, which I like and approve of. Couple of slots here. Okay. Where are our vacancies? One in the district crossing. Also, the lumberjack flag. Migrate population, what are you attempting to maintain on? You're trying to stay on 10. Yeah, you're just trying to stay on 22. So we do just need more beavers. Which does make me wonder if we need another breeding pod. Know what you can do? We could do with some blueberries. That's what some of this space can be for. Just plant some blueberry bushes through here. We'll see if we can get a breeding pod set up. Some stairs up here just so we can cut down these birch trees and make use of this land. Could also be of use. Yeah, that lumberjack flag will be able to reach up there once we add those stairs. We'll sign that as a bit of a long-term concern for our builders. Yeah, another breeding pod I think will be required. So I guess we'll get another one up here. Hopefully this won't stretch our water too much. Oh, no, we have this little bit of dead space. We should not have that bit of dead space. Can we plant crops there? We shall see. And yeah, another breeding pod. And I guess you just go there. And then we can fill in the one spot behind you with another oak tree. And you can see when the ruins are on irrigated land, they get all this foliage growing over them, which I think looks very pretty. And we have a good reservoir of water down here. We might want to start draining too, just getting a second water pump in position. Wonder with how far these water pumps reach. Yeah, we can actually access the bottom of this reservoir from the top of this cliff. That is fun. Might make use of that. Yeah, deep water pump. And we do need this bit of space in here. We should... Yep, it needs a 2x2. Sign that there. Footpath leading back. We'll give this a bit of priority. This water's going to start evaporating off the moment the drought hits, so I might as well get some of it pumped out and into the tanks and stomachs of our beavers. Yeah, I do really want a big water tank. Like, these zones carry 30 each at 4 times the space. This carries 10 times the amount of water. But at that point, I also probably really want haulers in order to move that much water around. Yeah, population troubles, population troubles. Let's see how 5 breeding pods do us. Yep, we're struggling a bit on logs here. We are just kind of overusing the amount of logs we're getting in through our trading post. Yeah, because you're down to just 1 person. Well, you'll be able to cut some of those, so... Oh, no workers available. Yeah, someone else died of old age. I don't think we need this forester anymore. Let's just put you down to low and then back to normal priority, and that will shift off the worker here to go do something else. You know what? Okay, 6-day drought. So the last one was just a bit anomalously severe. We'll be fine. Kohlrabi, 34 fermented cassava. A lot of berries. More and more vacancies appearing. 1 up here, 3 down here. Yeah, so you've gone in and out, pumping water from here. That is probably preferable. Have this pump operating rather than this pump. Water stocks vanishing. And we have 3 beds. How did we end up with 3 beds? Here's just beavers dying. You can see our overall population is starting to decrease now. Yeah, there are only 6 beavers on this side. 22 beavers here. Now, that is the amount we're striving for, because that's the amount to get every job over here in position. If our workers are all laboring, that's okay. Yeah, we will endure. So you've built out to here. Let's get some more levies in position. Okay, so... And now is about the time we need to start thinking about this side. Something with stairs is probably the way to go. Just climb up to here. I get a double platform there. There's 2 levies would be quite expensive and quite unnecessary to fill that area up. I can then get just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levies to fill that entire thing up to the point we need. But you won't be able to reach these far ones. That's not a plan that'll work. We can instead go 1, 2, 3, yeah, like this. And now you can access all of these with paths that run across the top of this. So you just need to get beavers up here. Yeah, so to build 3 high, you will need to get to the top of this area anyway, so we are needing to do that. Might be a cheap way to do this, but the simplest way I can see is like this. Get those in, build up, and then we'll just start demolishing these paths and working our way back. More people dying of old age. Someone else grew up, so that this district at least is staying steady. Anyhow, we are just relying on the overflow from here to keep up the population here. It is slightly awkward the way these breeding pods work, because even if I were to do some automation stuff, like detecting how many people we had available, because there's the 5-day delay, I want to say, on each of these breeding pods, and it would make it quite difficult to manage, because like, it's 5 days to get your population up by 1, and then however many days to get the kit to grow up into an adult after that point. So any signals you're sending based off what you need now are going to be probably quite out of date by the time an action taken at that point comes to when it comes to fruition. You can see some water backfilling out from this side. We'll do the old flush water out from here again trick. Buildings you're lacking materials for, yeah, planks. We'll just need to run some planks down to here. Hopefully they should be managing that. But we might actually just be out of planks for the moment. We have a few. So we're not cutting any more because the river's not flowing. This is a fun little waterfront we've managed to build up here. It's this row of structures with all the stairs leading up to them on this cliffside and the water wheel poking over the back. Now you build fun looking settlements in this game. Only 2 days, 1 night to go until the drought's over. Some berry bushes. plant some more berry bushes, probably just get these things growing. I kind of want to keep some of this area for any district crossings to district over here, but they can just go out on this kind of dead zone over here. And then we'll have a path leading here from topside, and a path leading here from overwater? Over there? Still need to think of a good name for District 2 here. Yeah, like a path here leads to a district, path here leads to a district, and those both unite on the other side. And so both these districts can trade directly with a district over by this riverhead. Oak tree is starting to grow. That's good. That means any log shortages we're running into over here should be resolving themselves. Yeah, and we did fish up enough platforms to make this functional, which is excellent news. Now we could keep building this reservoir higher, like get some more logs along here, but at that point we're kind of backing up into this reservoir, and so we need to do engineering on this side. Need to get a retaining wall along here, so I think this height is what we'll be settling for at the moment. Now, power generation here is probably going to be centered on this portion of the river between where these two floodgates currently are at. We can have like a couple of little channels, maybe a section here, the water drops down into power wheel, drops down to the next one, another power wheel, and then down to reservoir level. Yeah, we're managing to get some more beavers in. Up to 31 adults, 5 children. Only 1 unfulfilled position. Which is... okay, 2 unfulfilled positions because someone just died of old age. Clean water. Goes up there. Blood's out there. Water wheel starts moving slowly. This water's not really flowing anywhere yet. And there we go. Yeah, we could attach a bunch more industry onto this thing. Man, look at all the clean water briefly flowing along here before this bad water spreads. Yeah, just knocking out this channel so you preferentially flow to rejoin that point would be quite nice. Then this river would irrigate quite a decent tract of land for us. There's no other sources of bad water contaminating that in that flow direction. I'm pretty sure the river keeps flowing this way after this area is filled up. There's a cave back here. Huh. That's curious. I wonder what you could do with that. I mean, you can stop that bad waterfall, or open it up by redirecting this down here. You can maybe redirect bad water out through that cave if you like blockaded this section, so the water would flow preferentially back down through here. Slope's running in the wrong direction for that, really. Yeah, flush that bit of bad water away. Get rid of that contamination on the ground. Good river. Yes, we've only got that 1 point left. Let the beavers do that. We'll need to do this kind of one part at a time, working our way back here to avoid any beavers accidentally walling themselves in. These trees are almost dead from the flooding. And get that done. 2 more logs. There's the beaver supplying him, swimming along. Movement speed down because you didn't bother to get a drink before coming out here. There's the final builder. Okay. So I think if we destroy these buildings... Yes, we are just destroying those, not the things on top of them. Like that. And then we order the beavers to build like this. I think they'll preferentially try and build from the back, the first one we placed. Yeah, danger for beavers walling themselves in really come from like building on corners here, because you'll have a builder beaver like trying to build here, another beaver will go, oh, I can't access that one, but I can access this one. And then the beaver over here ends up getting walled in somewhere. If you're just building on a straight line like this, they're usually pretty good about building from the end inwards. Yeah, we see our plank storage starting to fill up. Gears all currently done. So you make 1 plank every 2/3 an hour. You make 1 gear from 1 plank every 3 hours. We can comfortably get some gear storage in position without impacting our storage of planks. Where do we want you? Probably not far off the time it would be appropriate to get a second elevation level here. Like, by just building platforms right along the streets, you can get a multi-tiered settlement. Trouble is, you need spots for the ladders to go. Well, we get one along here? Along this main road? I'm a bit low on planks to really start that operation yet. Here, 50. And let's start it. Now, spiral stairs make this a lot easier, but they take treated planks. We're not at treated planks yet. We'll just have some normal stairs there, leading to this. Oops. And this. Sure, we'll just get that built out too. And then we probably want a way up onto the platforms from over here. We just engineer like that. Get another path there. There we go. And that'll keep our planks and our builders busy for the next little bit. Files over all of this. Get some vertical construction in. Builders working away. I'm seeing more born and crew up messages than died messages, which is a good income. Income, good prospect. I mean, hopefully our income of beavers is suitable, I guess. Income was definitely not the word I meant to say there, but I do not know what that word was. Yeah, one forester here is definitely a bit excessive compared to what we need. Right. Want some more berry bushes along here? Sure. Berry bushes for everyone. Leave a spot there in case I want a path. Eventually we'll want a gatherer's hut in order to gather some of these berries. These bushes are mostly grown. And then we can get a breeding pod over here. So this place will have its own income of beavers. We have no vacancies available and still 6 children. Yeah, we definitely want to increase our population a bit. Hauler stations, I mean, they can accept a lot of workers. And so having quite a few unemployed beavers before we get hauler stations in position would be ideal. Okay, you guys have built up this little area. Almost. You still got this section to go. And then I'm thinking we'll get another medium warehouse over here, but this one we will assign to gears. We should have a nice healthy storage of gears ready. And then also gear storage, so we could also currently afford a medium tank to be put in position, which I think would work quite well. This area will be a pain to build up anyway, and despite this little area, we could put a too high thing here with these platforms in position with these 2 breeding pods and the forester. Might as well put something else that will be difficult to build over the top of. A medium tank for water right there. Okay, you guys are ready to receive your next assignment. I'll just put the 1 levy there. And then we can build back along here. I don't need to go up to that location, so I can assign that as well. And this one too. And then just the last few bots to fill in. I will have the floodgates just over here, so it drains into the old river channel, just to keep things nice and neat and tidy. I reckon we'll probably act fast enough that these trees won't drown, at least. Yeah, we could probably support a second lumberjack flag over here. Just cutting through these oaks. Okay, you guys gotten a lot of these buildings done. We shall assign a levy there and a levy there. Oh yeah, this is the sort of situation that I don't want to go too far because beavers will end up trapped, because if I order like levies here and levies here, I'll have a beaver out here working on that levy, and the beaver will come like stand here and seal off the top of the stairs. Almost finished this reservoir. And yeah, I don't think the irrigation is going to push in very far this side, so we can just keep our various industrial buildings here. However, it is going to push right to the edge of this plateau, meaning getting our farmland established here is probably the next objective for this district. You guys have gotten, oh yeah, this little kind of task I set you all set up. They did eat all of our planks. So I do just need this lumber mill to work away for a bit before I do much else here. As yeah, they can't even finish this medium tank with the amount of planks ended up left. So that'll just get done when it gets done. Okay, those are both done. Destroy those paths. Last couple of levies here. And a series of 3 floodgates here. I want to bother spending for the double high floodgates. I don't know how likely I think I am to build up this reservoir any higher. I'd rather have a taller reserve reservoir here that drains down into this basin, I think. Yeah, because having to set up a retaining wall along the edge of this will just be annoying, so I think just one high floodgate should be fine. Oh, we have unemployed beavers. We're actually starting to get some unemployed beavers. Just let that build up and then we can finally get a hauling post in place. Just needs a bit of work. There we go. And demolish buildings. Yeah, we'll just set you like that. And yes, this is where we want these floodgates. Set you there. Can you reach those? Think so. Food stocks are keeping up. Water looks low, but that's because we finally managed to finish this medium tank. So our total reserve increased substantially off that. Let's increase the height of you up to 0.8 meters. Can we increase you up to slightly higher without you backfilling and flooding? Or you hold out on 0.65? Seems like it. I think 0.7 was where I started getting trouble once we drop under 1 cubic meter per second. Or even that seems to be holding. Excellent. Oh, very close to the lip there. I'll just keep an eye out. If we get any flooding messages from this pump going under. Come on, save the birch trees. Work faster, builders. Yeah, you need planks brought down from up here. You're getting them, though. You're getting them. Yeah, a lot of spare logs up here. Now, our builders are all quite busy, but once this is done, we can really start expanding what we're doing up here. Actually, probably before that, though, we will need to get this done, so builders are just going to be busy down here for a long time, working on reservoirs. Yeah, builders getting more planks in. Last go, 4 planks needed. Yeah, the 0.7 meter on the floodgate here does seem to just be holding. I haven't noticed any flooding. We'll see if something awkward happens after a drought or bad tide when we kind of see a burst of water come through here suddenly at the end of it. Of course, you only took 1 plank. Here comes the last one. Okay. And last of all, 3 levees. And that's the reservoir done. And so now, next thing to handle is probably a bit more food diversification. Yeah, just getting some more kohlrabi growing, because we are eating through it up here. We do need more farms. Let's get some farms established over here. Probably the spot to bridge over. And yeah, so have I decided if we're doing a suspension bridge or just stairs down? I mean, the suspension bridges look so cool. Even though I think it is just less efficient than doing a stairs up, stairs down trick. Look at that. So much water. Reservoir's just filling up. And any minute now, it will start overflowing. This lovely irrigated land. There we go. It's very fun seeing how the landscape evolves in this game. There's this big lake where once there was nothing. Honestly, I am feeling like I will do the farmers, but then maybe jumping on to building up this part of the river is maybe our next goal. Because once I built up the river, I can get power generation here, and then we can start producing planks down here as well. It's just importing everything all the time is a bit annoying. It is throttling how much work we can do. So we want a 3x1 suspension bridge. Like that. And they'll be able to build this side of the bridge from the end of this one. And we can get like you. Alright, we cannot do that because we don't have spiral stairs yet. Oh, that's almost no trouble here though, because that's a straight line anyway. Yep, and then we'll get a farmhouse or two out here. We'll be able to start getting a beaver just gathering some scrap metal too. Once we have the numbers up. Now up here, we do have 5 spare beavers. Makes me think that is time for a hauling post. Where do I want to stick this thing? And over here, a little bit out of the way. I don't think the hauler's actual... Oh, first bad tide, finally. I don't think the hauler's actual location matters too much for us, because they don't spend a lot of time at their workplace. They spend it just moving between other people's workplaces. On that note, do I want it up here? Nah. Stick it there. 20 logs, 10 planks. And that should improve our efficiency up here substantially. I'll just have 2 or 3 beavers working as haulers for the moment. Now we definitely need... I mean, I would say we definitely need another lumberjack, but it's just we don't have enough wood income, really, to use any of this. With... What sort of reach are we getting in our builder's hut? Pretty good. To really do this, we will need another staircase over there. We can build levees up on this side as well. Yeah, as you can see, that's automatically put 5 workers on it. I'll drop that back to 3. So we need 25 workers here. Manage population. Try and stay on 25 workers minimum. Now we should all be set for the bad tide. So 2 days, I just need to remember to change over the floodgates manually. Because we're not quite at automation yet. What would I need for some bad tide automation? Yeah, so that would need metal. Yeah, I need either metal or treated wood. So I will just need to control bad tides manually for the moment. See them slowly building out this bridge. We need a farmhouse. Whereabouts I want to put you? Right on the edge of the water, a little bit further in. We'll just get a farmhouse built out there. We can see more beavers being born, more growing up. Now, it's going to be a bit variable, kind of the rate at which they grow up compared to the rate at which they're born, because I don't think these breeding pods scale with anything, whereas growing rate will scale with satisfaction. Their well-being scores. Which we are possibly in a position to actually start caring about now. Like, if I just look at our various buildings, so we have campfires. Simple 15 logs, 5 visitors, that just gives 1 to well-being. Rooftop terraces, 15 needs to be built on top of a roof, as the name might suggest. This is also something that these sorts of little double areas are handy for. And the best spot for one up here at the moment. See, otherwise these double showers. These, yeah, just get the wet fur need to be placed on water. This place is probably better set up for the double showers than this town. Scratches. Because it's just a 1x1, one person at a time, cost some logs and planks. Swimming pools, you build these on water. I could squeeze one in here if I found a way to put the exit in a bit more, I mean, entrance exit a bit more available. Once this is built up, we could have one along here maybe. Or I could just have one down here. That could be a good swimming pool location. Exercise plaza will be surprisingly cheap once we get our metalwork going, because that's just metal parts. Quite large, but 13 visitors. What sort of bonuses these all give? So +1, +1, +1 on the swimming pool. The swimming pool will also do wet fur, like the showers would. Exercise plaza is a +3. Yeah, exercise plaza could be worth going for quite quickly. Wind tunnel needs a lot of power and a lot of metal. Detailer, a lot of advanced resources. Motivatorium needs power and treated planks. Yeah, it must be built on the ground. Fun looking building. Mud bath, we need like dirt, excavators and stuff. We have decoration stuff too. Yeah, a lot more of the Ironteeth's decoration need metal to work with though. Unlike a lot of the folk tales, you just need wood. Yep, you guys are slowly getting that done. Keeping an eye on the clock here as we approach this bad tide. Oh, hello again, folks. Hello, place and everyone. Thank you very much for the raid. The Ironteeth colony is steadily progressing. I've just managed to finish off this big first reservoir. And it's very nearly our first bad tide, which I will need to change over these floodgates manually for, so I'm just staring at the clock carefully. Hello, Reverse the Sands. How is your own timberborning over on your side going? Watching the bad tide timer. And there we go. Swap over the floodgates. I, for one, cannot wait for us to have metals to do that automatically. Oh, wow. You were pumping out a lot of water briefly then, but just slightly. Oh, yeah. So, managed to do everything you want to do on your map. Get it all done. So, yeah. This is the sort of game where it just kind of has... Yeah. Had not realized that badtide would kill those oak trees eventually. They take long enough to dry, they're probably fine. Yeah, sort of game you just kind of keep going until you eventually finish up. I have no real idea what my own end goal for this colony is going to be. Whether I try and go for the wonder or not, but... Yeah, a whole lot of metal, just gather a bunch of resources, but at least it gives you a natural end goal. Yeah. And you are keeping up with the badtide. A little bit of immediate spillage, so I might want to swap over faster in the future. We are safe. Ah, 500 beavers. Yeah, achievement going for. Oh, and you've finished this farmhouse. Okay, so we shall need to get minimum population up here. Migrate some people over, please. And start assigning crops. Just a bunch of kohlrabi to start with over here. Just like that or something. Get that planted, then we can talk. And now, with all that done, next task for our builders is probably building up this area. So we get a nice little kind of step down we can do some power generation stuff with. First things first is probably just tearing out these floodgates. I mean, first things first is shoring up this shoreline, probably. Deep water pump. We'll be fine with the other pump just operating for us. Let's get some levees along there, please, builders. Anyway, I'm probably not re-putting the pump in here. A second pump out of this reservoir is the way to go. This is going to be filled up with power generation stuff. You know, might as well tearing out some of these oak trees. They didn't end up in a very good spot, but... yeah. Our first badtide, finally. Cycle 8, so that just lasts for a very short period of time. Yeah, swap the water over. Slight bit of flooding. Yeah, and these trees are just close enough they die from contamination during a bad tide. Yeah, kohlrabi all planted. Let's see. We have a bunch more crop stuff that now that we're almost up to metalworking, we can start thinking about. Let's get our scavenger flag in just there. And get a scavenger to work here. Let's get you up to a minimum population 14 because we'll need a couple more rolls soon. Now, food manufacturing as the Ironteeth. Yep. You go off to post-stream stuff, Aelin, and all that, so I should probably be more polite to raiders and stuff, but I'm actually not that used to it, I'm afraid, but thank you very much for the raid, so you go do your own post-stream stuff, all that, so fermenter, soybeans need the canola oil. The oil press needs metal parts. The hydroponic garden is also a metal part building. And then food factory needs metal blocks, and that's for the algae, the eggplant, and the corn. Coffee brewery needs metal blocks and treated planks. Now, the metalsmith does not take power, which is something to keep in mind. While you guys are gathering scrap metal, I might as well get a large industrial pile so we can get a good amount of that stored. Yeah, so over here I do think just more kohlrabi cassava for the moment. Maybe some canola and soybean will be the next thing to look at, but let's get some cassava just along here. And a bit more kohlrabi. I'll see if you can keep up with harvest when this stuff is growing. Okay, and back to builders. So, levees, not dams. It's here, down to here. Yeah, so let's get... How do I want this final product to look? Like, if I go up a couple of levels here, maybe. Let's try and mess with the Z levels. Yeah, so you fly down from there. If I go up to here, and then I can have waterfall churning away maybe at some point in the future, and we step down to this level, and then down. Yeah, I reckon it's like 2 up here, then 1 up from here, and then just down like this here. So I will heighten this slightly with a levee. So order you to put that in. So this internal reservoir, I don't have a good use for it, really. It's just holding a bit of water, I guess. And it's not like that really causes me any harm. Population seems to be keeping up with our requirements. They're just a 3-wide channel. Yeah, I think 3-wide channel is probably the easiest way to work with these water wheels. And if we look up here, a large water wheel, yeah, could be positioned like this. So I think 3-wide channels is what we want to aim for power generation purposes. So path up here just to make things a bit simpler. We barricade in that too. And then along there. Yep, and you guys are keeping busy. With a couple of spare people over here too. Scrap metal, if we start getting metalsmith work. That's cute, just as a little design. Just slot that in there. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, builders, I put you back on all 4 needed. Probably want another water pump over here too. So stick you there. And now, what do I want to do over here? So we have our hauling post working away. Still on 1 unemployed beaver. We're focusing on this district. The storage-wise, was there anything else we were looking at? We've got the gear storage, we've got our improved water storage. You're all functioning away. Yeah, that was right. I was going to look at the exercise plaza, but that is waiting on getting our metal parts. First, the kohlrabi crop is almost ready. And workers here are just going to be flat out for a long time, but I don't really think I have the people to spare or actually assign just for more builders, because as they finish stuff, they're going to be opening up more workplaces anyway. Just long-term projects. And another levy in here. This night pass. Probably want to get another row house in too. And so our amount of homeless beavers is increasing. Yep, you guys are working on harvesting this. These structures are going up. Yeah, planks coming down from up here. Yeah, just looking at the rate these are growing, I reckon we might want a second farmhouse before we expand those fields any further. Ooh, you will work away and get me all those metal parts I wanted. The water pump. So we'll need some more storage stuff over here. Storing some kohlrabi, storing some metal parts. Ooh, you squeeze in nicely along there. We'll do it like that and that. And we can potentially do something with this bit of empty space later on. Probably want another small water tank too. Maybe a breeding pod up here. Yeah, I probably want to jump just straight to a large water tank rather than bothering with another small one. Yeah, let's put some kohlrabi in there. You can be assigned to the storage of metal parts. Yeah, we want another row house up here. Yep, 3 wide seems like a good idea. You guys probably also want another row house, which we can put on that side. And more stuff with levies. Yeah, so we'll want to build you up higher. Get that all done. We'll want... I think what we might do here, just to make things simpler, is we can unlock these double floodgates. Replace these with double ones, so we can just keep them at the current height for now, and then once the water level's up a bit, raise the floodgates up. We'll just order these destroyed for the moment. Get 3 double floodgates. Drop your height down to 0.7. Couple of injured beavers. Yeah, they're getting that done. Planks slowly coming in. I probably just want plank storage. They actually store stuff over here, even when it's not immediately needed. Yeah, because I'm always certainly going to be manufacturing planks down here anyway, so I can get a large industrial stockpile. And that actually squeezes in that spot quite nicely. Yeah. Plank storage. Okay, we're up to 4 spare beavers. What to do with the 4 spare beavers? Metal parts is slow. These only produce 1 every 3 hours, so yeah, we're just going to need to wait for you to build up a nice stock. We have first of our cassava coming in. Yeah, you could probably do with some more farmers over here. We're not short on food at the moment, so don't need to overproduce more. Almost done. Perfect. Now keep working on some of these levees. Okay, so we're kind of going up to there. No, we can raise this even higher, I reckon. Need a bit of work to get up there, but we can actually just, or even step down from the top section up here and get these builders to help me out a bit. Yeah, you are reachable by those builders. So I actually quite like the sound of that. We can get 2 sets of workers working on this. So you guys build out that. We will want a way to get across here eventually. Yeah, if we delete this, a little bit of wastage, not the worst thing in the world. Get that labor done. Yep, you can see the builders from topside contributing their part. Up the structures go. More and more spare beavers. And scrap metal, 15 metal parts. What do I want to do with 5 extra beavers? Trapper shacks, wood workshops. Do need to find a good spot for a pine plantation at some point. Maybe I could cut back some of this stuff and get some pine trees in. And I don't want to go any closer though. Contamination will kill our pine trees before they can... Well, every time the badtide sweeps through. More builders. Yeah, food management is just waiting on metal income, which is slowly tinkering away. It's hydroponic gardens. Mushrooms and algae. Algae are more complex, they're food factory stuff. But the mushrooms are fermenter stuff. Can I squeeze another fermenter in? If I remove that fermenter, I could get 2 in side by side like this. And this is more than overproducing the power supply. Now, hydroponic gardens, they turn water into stuff like similar ratio here. We do have a decent amount of water income. More down here. I don't particularly want to have to import water with all the dead space up here. Getting a hydroponic garden going doesn't seem like the worst idea. Well, let's see how these hydroponic systems work. So, this is a nice flat building. We can squeeze this in comfortably into our main settlement. Whereabouts do I want to squeeze it in, however? Around the back here, around the back of the row houses. Let's stick around the back of the row houses. Push that down there. Get you on mushrooms immediately. And then once that's done, we'll need to re-engineer this. We have a bunch of cassava currently ready, but you're not really doing anything. We can delete that building. We'll want to delete those stairs. So you're now in an awkward spot, deep water pump. We'll need to reorient you as well. We want you. Delete that path. Ah, cannot delete that path. Okay. Slight complication. Solution, build a platform out here. Which means you probably did not need to destroy that water pump. Oh well. Slight waste, never hurt anyone. So we shall get a fermenter here, a fermenter here. We'll need a power shaft connecting the two there. A path there. Stranded beaver. That is fine. You there. And yeah, we don't need that platform. And I did just delete this water pump for absolutely no reason. And that'll keep our builders, some of our workers busy. Now, hopefully, the beavers will be clever enough to grab some metal parts. Not simple enough to make a little metal part storage up there. Okay, so builders over here. We shall need to build up this section some more. Yep, and then you'll need to go one higher to make you at the level we want. And in order to actually get up there, you need to do some stuff with stairs like this. I do probably want to rescue this stranded beaver. If we could make those stairs high priority, please. Rescue is coming soon, little one. There you go. Okay, so that is done. Now, we build some more levees along here. Yeah, a little bit awkward. I probably will need to push these stairs back one block. So build a levee there and a levee there. I reckon I want to keep this on a straight edge. Seems simpler. I mean, at too high, we can just reach from the ground here. This probably won't actually matter that much. Yeah, builders can manage that without extra steps or scaffolding. And we have a lot of spare beavers now. So many, in fact, I'm just going to pause that breeding pod on 95%. We can afford to grab another farmhouse out here. Yeah, so ways to approach this is probably just another too high floodgate over this side and do a similar trick to what we are doing here. Because our builders won't be able to build up high enough to build up here, so we need to bridge across. Yeah, oh, but we can't go over the top of floodgates, can we? Okay, there's going to be some awkwardness. Yeah, we will need to use scaffolding. Yeah, so current rate the river is flowing. Should be fine just using 2 floodgates to channel this thing. So try and keep the water flowing reasonably fast. I mean, up here we're just making it with 1. We'll stick with 2. We'll try and keep the flow through this section fairly even. So here we'll want to build. We can build up again. And it's a bit wasteful for logs, but just for the sake of neatness, we can do the same thing there. That bottom one could be a platform, but we'll do it as a levee. Yeah, and you are not getting the metal parts. Set you to fermented cassava and fermented mushrooms while I think about it. Just leave the builders constructing this stuff for the moment. They've got plenty to do up here. Actually, we can give you a 3rd builder. Yep, you are not currently stocked by anyone, but we can assign a couple more people to this district. And we can plant some more crops. Bunch more cassava. Since this is not that much cassava really we have up here. Yeah, a bunch more cassava. Something like that. I probably want a cassava fermenter down here too, just we're not having to export raw cassava up here to ferment it and then back down to eat it. something I do want about just to check. These mangroves, can they be planted in too high water? You don't even reach down there, so that's actually too difficult to check. I strongly suspect mangroves are a one high water thing only, but I probably will need to confirm that at some point. How the folk tales aquatic crops work, at least. Okay, and these workers have gotten all these structures in position ready. So we can get a medium warehouse ready to be filled with the, let's see, metal parts. I don't think I need a large warehouse. These don't seem in that high demand. We'll only really be using this to help store stuff that's exported. So where do I want to squeeze in one high storage structure? Oh, we can use this as a roof to walk on. You might not be bad here. And we can get a larger structure in the back. Sure. One by one, small warehouse, storing metal parts. Yep, builders working away on these. Okay, and now we need to get our scaffolding stuff in position. Start doing that at least. Yeah, so we'll need to also shore up this side so we can remove those two things. Add a pair of levees in there. Then, oh, very awkward without spiral stairs here because it's just a one ride platform. Am I going to need to buy the triple platform to finish this? I think I might. Yeah, because if we like have a thing there, and then you lead up, and then you lead up, we cannot curve this so it's actually in positions. Yeah, so we'll need the triple platform. And then from that triple platform, we can access the rest of these. Well, at least planks are free with all these oak trees, pretty much. Another drought approaching. 3 days. I don't think I'm concerned about droughts. Not really anymore. Worst will happen is this area runs dry briefly, which won't really do anything to our plantation, and we have plenty of reserve drinking water. This hydroponic garden is, yes, there, just done. What do you look like? That's cute. I'm assuming this little mushroom's going to grow over time. The idea was born after discovery of damp human ruins covered in rapidly growing fungus. Yeah, then you'll take quite a while. You might need a few hydroponic gardens in order to keep this fermenter in business. Yeah, and you guys are being successfully industrious up here. Paths in place. I don't have a tooth grindstone down here, do I? I was just noticing, like, this beaver walking around with chipped teeth. I need to remedy that. Well-being. Tooth grindstone. Where are we concealing this little structure? in that little corner. Sure, that's a cute corner for it. Get someone to head down there. Get our beavers back chopping trees successfully. And scrap metal starting to come in. Stock up. Now that we have gears, we can start doing more interesting things with this vertical power shaft. So previously, like, the power shafts build were just these very simple, need to be placed on a base, things cannot be placed on them. Vertical power shafts can transmit power up and down, and can have structures built on top of them. Let you do far more interesting things, industrial district-wise. Could, for example, like, we mount... So I think if I just delete that path for the moment, mount large water wheels like this. I could do this on the other side, face them inwards, then have a built-up industrial district in the center here. This pit makes that somewhat awkward, but we could do at least something. And really, I'd want some overhangs to kind of overhang this pit in order to pull that off. I can probably squeeze a fermenter in, though, just for this cassava. And try and put in a lumber mill. Larger buildings can wait till we have the overhang. Yes, get that tooth grindstone in, please. Yeah, we're out of logs because we need this grindstone. There we go. Yeah, and now you will go get rid of the chipped teeth, because this makes you, pretty much prevents you from cutting trees in a reasonable amount of time. And now, yep, we can start getting oak trees back. You need 32. What's our current limit here? Apparently we have one person not employed here. Oh yeah, it is because you just need 32 beavers. Minimum? No, your minimum is 25. You should be fine. You do have 28 positions though, so we need to increase your minimum. Okay, yeah. Huh. Oh, you have 16 adults. And only 15 are working. Oh, one's injured, of course. That's why. We need to give you a bit of a buffer to allow for that. So 29 and 17 on each side. Of course, getting a medical tent to help treat injuries in the future would also be a good idea. Medical bed. We can just put that down near this tooth grindstone. Now, drought is about to start. Okay, so this structure is good to go on to the next section. So we'll need to delete that footpath and get a levee, another levee, another levee, and then, let's see, so double floodgates are 20 logs, 10 planks each. So yeah, more efficient than just building up. Actually, no, levees are cheaper than dams, aren't they, at 12? So, do I want to do levee, single floodgate? There's 15, 27, or 30 for the 2 double floodgates. Let's just do levy, levy, floodgate, floodgate, and hope that that never comes back to bite me somehow. Why am I even worrying if that will come back to bite me? No, let's just do the double floodgate. Sorry for the indecision. Floodgates are just very useful to have. There we go. Those are getting done. Now, drought at the moment, so we won't see this area start to fill up, but the moment this ends, 7-day drought this time, should see a good bit of progress. Now, we'll probably want to start reinforcing the banks of this channel. Let's go levy, 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 like that. And then we'll have, this should be able to squeeze in a large water wheel. Eventually, once we kind of build this up so it's off the footpaths, that'll fit. And we just have this last little crooked sideways bit, which is a bit more annoying to build for, design for. Okay, so you can reach this when you're swimming. So yeah, you count as 1 block higher for your reach. That's nice. So just a single floodgate here should have 2 exits, so that should be able to support this section. Okay, no, it's not from the water, you're just pathing around the back still. That also works, that's fine. And we want levees in here, along here and there. And we will need to cut down some of these birches in order to squeeze in the space to get some more work done. Don't think it's worth devoting woodcutting time for that, so I'll just order some of these resources to be destroyed. Resources for removal here, 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 please. Okay, so it's 51% through our first lot of mushrooms. You can see them growing. I'll just like dissolve some of the sticks and stuff that are lying on the ground. Very good. Hello, Richie. How are you doing? You're 5 well-being. Yeah, just getting a campfire somewhere. I think my beavers would quite appreciate that. And if I expand you slightly, delete you, and let's support a bit more crops just so I can have a straight path running that way. rather than a weird little block. Still broadly eating through kohlrabi faster than we can gather it, so those can both be kohlrabi. Here. Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about where I would like campfires and stuff in position. So exercise plaza. And we could go a bit further out and still fit in an exercise plaza, which is nice. Campfire. Squeeze in there. So we could do a 3x3 structure in the center there, get the campfire around behind. Campfire tragically doesn't quite fit properly in here because the exit ends up being blocked. Campfire there would stop me doing a 3-long structure here. And just a campfire around the end here. Sure. If I want to remove and stick something else there, I always can. Just get our well-being up slightly for the beaver's top side. Look at that. Yep, and that gets 1 point in the social life stuff. Builder's still laboring away. Yeah, and cut down those trees for me. I'll need to keep building this up. Should be fine just from the base of the ground. That one might pose some troubles. They don't seem to think so. Oh no, we don't want that to be the levee. That's going to be our floodgate up there. And so the way this floodgate will work is this will still be the equivalent of 2 tiles of output because it will flow in from 2 sides and then out from 2 sides. So I'm pretty sure from the observations I've made elsewhere that this should give the same throughput as 2 side by side like this. How are our water supplies doing? Pretty decent. We're down to the bottom block here, but only just. Don't reckon we're going to be running out anytime soon. So nice once you get these reservoirs up, because like during a drought, everything just turns into this grey, broken wasteland, except the area you inhabit, which is this little thriving island. Green plants and grass, all the little moving whirligigs on your buildings, plumes of smoke. It's very much an island in a desert. Okay, yes, and you cannot reach that. I was correct. That was proving a problem. Well, I mean, if you can't reach either of those anyway, there's no real point in having that there, so we might as well start building you up. And you. And then you'll be able to reach that one from this corner. We probably just need to do some more scaffolding stuff here. Sort this out. I wonder, did I make this long enough to support 2 large water wheels? If I did, that was accidental, but it'll also be nice. Power. Large water wheel. One there. Maybe not quite. Or maybe yes. we'll see. Like, the curve in the water here might do weird things to how much water flow it thinks it's getting. It's like here the water is flowing one direction, but here we'll be trying to curve away from the water wheel. Might throw things off. Okay, so we can start building up the levee here and here. For the drought ends, please. If it overflows, I want to be overflowing out of the place that floodgate is. Cool. And now along here, yeah, once we get like the levees, the retaining walls along the sides of here in, it should hopefully get a bit simpler to reach our floodgate. We'll just request construction along the sides of here. And now at least some of this is out of builder's reach. Yeah, so we want to do some path stuff. Here we have fully grown oak trees blocking our way. That isn't good. I'm always slightly annoyed. I don't think there's a way to like assign priorities to particular wood cutting zones. So you can't say always cut these trees first, then these trees. So we might just need to destroy that oak tree. Yeah. Mark for demolition. I'll get what construction they can first before doing that though. Yeah, this reservoir is holding up very nicely. Even with like the reservoir holding up, we should still get some large water storage just to make stuff a bit more centralized and easier to access for our beavers. Need to keep that in mind for once this project's finished. End of today, the drought should be finishing. Everything will be back to working. You have 15% of your work left to do. Water level is continuing to decrease here, but we've just about made it. Honestly, I don't think that much larger of a reservoir will really be needed to keep this filled with water even through a really long drought. Like expanding here, getting like a little bit of, like I mentioned, a tower, I believe in the first episode, water tower here, which can be pressurized from the water source. That can slowly drain out into this water. Or doing the stuff with the overhang, like I mentioned off here. As a small cliffside reservoir. Drought ends. Let's watch the water move. Kind of moving. There the water wheel goes. Turning all the gears. And up it flows there. Over here. And then we'll go through these floodgates and we'll start seeing these fill up. Oh, look at that. Okay, so with the path available here, we can start pushing our builders slightly further down. Yeah, I reckon we do probably just want to destroy all these various resources. We're not cutting these trees in all likelihood. I'll leave the ones right on the edge just for the aesthetic. But yeah, clear a bunch out, please. Yeah, and now you're into here. And even without the floodgate, this is still the low point, so you'll naturally flow out of there, into here, and then out there. Not the most flow through this. If I desynchronize you and rise Raise the level there. Do you increase somewhat? Okay, so you are struggling now to let the water out fast enough here. Drop you to 1.6. Okay, that seems to be channeling correctly. So you're now overflowing down here. Oh, kind of settling. Okay, it seems to be somewhat working. Why is the water backing up so frequently? Like, you saw how the water level's altering here. It's changing very fast. Like, an hour, it drops right down as the water level in here surges. Maybe once this floodgate's overflowing, it'll level out a bit, because it's still filling this reservoir. They'll be influencing how the water acts as it leaves here, altering it over time. Yeah, you're overflowing that side a little bit, that's fine. More paths in. Yeah, it seems to be fairly steady. So we need to find a way to get across to the far side of the river here. Now, doing something with stairs up and down is probably less efficient than just doing something with platforms to step right over, I reckon. Yeah, so we'll want some levees, say here and here. And then, easiest way to get across is... Can't spot any locations with less than 3 to bridge from one side to the other. Yeah, not seeing any. I'm wondering if I altered the layout of this section, could I squeeze another large water wheel in here? I might be able to. Large water wheels. Can't really need 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you could even squeeze in there, which actually means we definitely have room on that side. Yeah, so 5 across, 4 on either side. So I need a continuous row of 5 levees if I wanted to get a water wheel down here. I mean, it's going to have to go over the deepest part. I can't, like, have the water wheel side back shallow, so I'd need to build in here. Or to pull that, which means I'd probably need to pull back this side to keep the channel too wide. We can maybe just about squeeze through a one-wide channel as this shows. Yeah, so I might just delete you and you. And instead have a levee here, 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 here. Like that. And then I can squeeze a water wheel in here. Means I probably want to build the levee like that to keep it flowing slightly straighter past the water wheel. think this is a really fun little structure we've built here. Just this gradual steps down, curving around. We'll have a floating industrial district in the center. Oh, look at that, our well-being is actually increasing. Fermented mushrooms came in, that's what did it. Yeah, we had a harvest. Well, that is lovely. So I'll probably want mushroom storage and stuff to be sorted out up here too. Medium warehouse. I mean, hopefully all these mushrooms ended up being processed pretty quickly, but I might want a second hydroponic garden or something. So yeah, a medium one just for future-proofing the mushroom production line seems prudent. I'm kind of regretting putting that little storehouse there because it prevents me from placing a building that exits that way. Like, look at that. So, how do I want to place you? A couple of storage locations. And if I just place, that can be a raw mushroom building. And just like that, a cooked mushroom building just out the back. The haulers should hopefully make fairly short work of this. I might get a fourth hauler requested here. Yeah, so mushrooms and then fermented mushrooms out the back, please. Almost certainly want cassava storage as well. Almost certainly, I mean, definitely in all likelihood. Fermented cassava, yeah, because we are backed up on our supply of that. Also want medium warehouse. Stick one of these somewhere else. Across here. Across here. It's actually slightly annoying this is a 3x3 rather than a 2x3. Fermented cassava just in here and then extend this along. Sure. Fermented cassava, please. That's raw cassava. We want fermented cassava. Yeah, not connected to any paths, but you will be shortly. And yes, back to getting builders over here. So the way to handle this probably is... I mean, we know we'll want stuff here, stuff here. Levy, get a levy. Get some stairs up. And then, how do we want to push across here, maybe? We'll need this open for water wheel, and I will still need to get across here gradually. Just like that. Some paths. Get some stairs in there. And they still won't be able to reach here, not easily. Did I screw this up? Yes, I did. You need to be wider. Okay, so we need to get rid of this path. Also need to destroy that. And then build a levee in there. Yes. And you should be fine to break without having any flooding occur. Not the flooding here would be particularly disruptive, destructive, whatever word you want to use. Let the builders get on with it. Yeah, some more mushrooms being produced. Let's see, what do I kind of want to start worrying about next, production-wise? So we still have the possibility of like further expansion, getting more districts, more land secured. But honestly, in our current position, that might be less important than just developing up this central region further. I am looking at how this river flows, because we have seen all this nice clear water flow down along here. And like another district even down here might not be a bad idea. Make a very tight cluster of 3 centralized districts. In order to do that, we need to redirect the water, stop it from coming past this entrance. If we cut this open and blockade this, the water flows down here and then rejoins up the water down here, which stops bad water going this way and just adds more bad water over here, which flows off the map. Not a bad solution. We do have the fresh water over here, potentially longer term to think about. We'll always have bad water from there. We'll always have bad water from here. We could direct that bad water into here. This bad water can also be redirected into this channel. Yeah. So I think we blockade the river here-ish. We open this up. Like, the builders from here with some stairs can get down there and accomplish that. Now, further downriver, we have this whole mess to worry about. This, I think, is going to be trickier to deal with. River diversions. We have a source up there, a source up there. Potential ways of dealing with this. Build up, divert over the top, resource intensive a long way away. If I did that, the water would flow into this channel and eventually back down to here, which I want to keep clear. And then back down to here, where it's just rejoining the same water source at a later point and still contaminating this one. So that's not really a solution. Where else can this water go? It's a potential exits off the map here. Potential exit here. Yeah, I am looking at this cavern and wondering if we can build this up high enough to redirect the bad water just back down there. If I just blockade all of this off, build a big levee. See, how high up is this? Okay, so it needs to go to this high for it to back up and overflow through there. This I would need doing. That's not the most difficult. Over here, that might be doable. It'll be a lot of work. Let's just pencil in some levees. Builders can't reach this, so this won't take up any actual time or resources. 2, 3, 4, 5. Like something like that. Now, any overflow is not going to be particularly destructive because overflow off these levees is just going to put it back in the same channel it always was in. It's not going to send it anywhere we really don't want it. This place is deep enough that this will be very annoying to blockade, so, but can do this. It's just going to be a lot of wood. Like that. Yeah, and then just the same along all of here. Yeah, once that retaining wall is built, it'll overflow preferentially out the back here. And then probably drain through there. Some will try and backfill this way. We might get a little bit of bad water spilling down into here. If we ever build a settlement over here, that's something we can fix readily enough, however. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of wood. It's quite far away, too. More reasonable is the engineering over on this side. Right, we'll let our builders finish off these bits of structure first before we order them to go do that. Does this work as navigable? I don't think it does. That's wasteful anyway. Why am I building stairs? I should just be building double high platforms. Oh yeah, those were double high anyway. I thought that was a single high gap. I was misreading that. Yeah, let our builders work this out, and then we might try diverting this bad water river. Yeah, this is going to take a while. I might even get a new district started down here and then use that as a staging ground for the builders to head out and get to work. Everyone's working away. Finally got some fermented cassava back up. Now they've actually got storage to place it in. Robbie. Yeah, our food supply is looking pretty good. I still need to get the large water storage for these guys. So you want, before we do the river diversion, that's what we'll be doing. Oh. Right. Yes. Bugger. That's there. So I forgot about that. Don't actually have the space to get an additional power source in here. Whatever, that's future-proofing. Once we get dynamite, we will. We'll stick a dynamite shoved in that block and it goes boom. And then we can fit the water wheel in here. Yeah, just the terrain blocks. We don't have a 5-long section here. That's right, a 4th large water wheel is not something we'll be needing for a considerable time. So while I think of it, the medium water tank. We might want to build over there. I don't want to squeeze you in, my friend. A little bit awkward kind of with the storage taking up this space. This is a little bit far away from where I would really ideally like my people running to get drinking water. I mean, do I just stick something there? Something over here? Let's do it back here. Alright, I could maybe squeeze in a building in this corner. And the barrel on the cliff overlooking the reservoir would be quite a good look. Ah yeah, you need gears, which means you'll need gear storage as well. Small gear store right here for the moment. I might get a large gear store in here later and I can just repurpose this to something else. Like the small plank store that I could probably reuse as something else too. That might have actually been a decent raw mushroom container near the fermenter. Never mind. I've already built a larger one. Yeah, I don't really want to make these floodgates too high, because otherwise we'll get like overflow over on this cropland, and that will just be annoying to deal with, keep delaying the farmers. even if it doesn't manage to drown the crops. There we go. Medium tank in position. Why don't you have reach to build here? Like you walk. Ah, the path is disconnected there. Okay, now that's fine. I did think the builders seemed to be working out of the order I'd assigned. And then getting up to this floodgate is just a matter of, like, platform and stairs up to there. Which I might as well also get them working on right now. Like that. This platform should not influence the water flow because water just flows straight through platforms, as we've seen up here. Very soon this will all be done. How's the metalsmith been doing? Oh, 81 metal parts. You've been, yep, just chipping away in the background while everything else has been going on. Same with these metal ruins, slowly getting processed into scrap metal. Many hundreds. Eventually this will run out, not for a while. But by that point, hopefully I'm over here and can salvage these ruins. Other options. These underground ruins, they are infinite metal sources. I did notice, yeah, we have a different efficient mine. We also use extract, which is made from bad water, in order to get 10 scrap metal per treated plank. Yeah, treated planks are probably something I want to get in position for. So these, like, take planks, put pine resin on them, get treated planks out. Pine resin will need a large pine plantation somewhere. We'll get another district down here and get some pine trees on one of these plateaus. That should do good work for us. Because yeah, you're being irrigated from up here, and once this is no longer bad water, you'll be being irrigated from down here too. Last couple of structures. And final floodgate. Just need the planks. There they are. Wonderful. Okay, and that's this little thing pretty much almost done now. I just raise you to 1.7 meters. Filling in this final area. Some flooding. I think this one wide channel is maybe giving it a little bit of a choke. There, it's settled down. Okay. There we go. And that is kind of all the engineering that I want to get done with this district done, pretty much. Or that I started off with the aim of doing anyway. Wonderful. So much spare water. And now we have this stuff to do. So, getting down here, yeah, a step down from here. Stair. Yeah, just get a path in. And then down from here, same deal. Yeah, so before we dam this, we want to break this. So when this is dammed, like, the water will already have a course to take. So, can we walk on top of blockages? I do not remember. So we might want to start at this end and then work our way back. We might want to get some platforms in so we're not swimming in contaminated water. Because we don't have a way to cure contamination at the moment. That is locked behind, like, metal blocks and extract and all sorts of stuff. And, like, where is the centrifuge? Yeah, that's a bunch of metal blocks, bunch of power. So any beavers who fall in the bad water are just going to need to be exiled to die out in the wilderness. I would prefer to avoid that outcome. Yes, you can path down to here. What we might want to do... Okay, so you reckon you can walk on top of these. Okay. We'll demolish that blockage. We'll see if that holds true. Now, it's a long bit of a walk, but this is just a temporary building endeavor. I'm not expecting the beavers to go down there pretty much ever after this. This will be part of this district's domain. Yeah, this fresh water will be very difficult to actually make use of. This might even be like an aqueduct job at some point in the future. Actually, what this probably is in the future is a blockading here, and then this water just adds to the flow of this river. Okay, demolish that blockage. Yeah, it takes a while. Once this is done, bad water will start flowing, and then I'll clear out a couple more just to make certain this channel is well and truly open. Okay, bad water flowing. Contamination spreading, but it's just going to be limited down on kind of this little area, which we're not using. Flows down, joins here. Another drought, 3 days. That's fine. Yep, this one too. And while that's getting worked on, we can start blocking this section off. So, I want to do this kind of pretty far up the river. 4 is a tad annoying here, but I can just put in a platform there. And these levees should prevent any bad water from flowing down this river from this point on. Yep. I attempted to click, but it did not register the end of the click until I'd already started moving my mouse away. There we go. And I'll see if get this done before the drought, but if not, we'll kind of see what this looks like at the end of the drought. Only a couple of spare beavers. Looks like we're holding pretty well this breeding bod pause for the amount we want. No unfulfilled roles anywhere. Yeah, we can see a bunch of the food is making its way down to this district. Bit of overflow. More overflow. What is triggering you? Yeah, look at the waves building up. Dropping and increasing and dropping and increasing. Yeah, even in the reservoir, that is a lot of motion. The fluids sometimes act a bit squiffy. And up it goes, and back down. Something's destabilized. Luckily it's not too severe. This flooding isn't really happening where it's important. Maybe I'll just end up like building up this area even higher. And then just keeping a fairly low exit here. Well, it's not flooding anything I care about, so... If it keeps flooding over here, eventually this will fill up. Almost done. Just one levee down here. Going out to work even though you're hungry. Last couple. Okay, let's see this in action. Yep, bad water. No longer here. Now the bad water here will just take some time to gradually flow away. Yeah, this channel is now fully diverted down here. And so this should be clean water right through till it rejoins at this point. You can see this waterway greening up. Ain't that nice? And if I was to establish a mine... Our options is this one over here, bit in the middle of nowhere, and that's going to where we're diverting a lot of our bad water to. There was this one, which is probably the most accessible, like maybe even from this district. Bit of a hike. We can like bridge across to these two plateaus simply enough, just over the ravines. This district... Another 8 days, okay. Yeah, we hopefully won't lose any of these berry bushes, but we'll see. Here you can see where the contamination during the bad tide. Like, I didn't really show it off, I was too busy focused on my own place, but all these freshwater places will have turned into bad water, and the contamination has killed off all the plants by the river banks. Like, how did this place end up? Yeah, blueberries dead from contamination quite far in. This is going to be the bad one. A decent amount managed to survive. With a surprise, I expected quite a lot of this to be contaminated out. You know, with all the bad water cleared out, the moment this drought ends, we'll see everything here become lush and green. Yep, so you're working around that. Now, since you've done this, let's start thinking about getting this power system in place. If you should build a... Let's just pause this for a moment. A water wheel there. Get another water wheel in there. Yes, that is very nice. Now, actually building stuff in association with this. So 3 high platforms. We can just stack platforms too to fill this space up, which might be the thing to do. So yeah, before we get these water wheels in position, let's just fill this. As this pit is somewhat annoying. Bunch of planks invested in here should... Yep, get this on a nice, smooth, level platform we can use to start building other stuff off. 2, your 2, and then a 1 high one here. Lovely. Yep, that's all within building range. Now, if we are building an industrial district in here, we will want to be able to access it more easily than we presently can. With water wheels here, here, and here. Accessing it might actually be a wee bit difficult. These floodgates might have been a mistake for the humming and hurrying between 1 and 2. We might want dams just so we can have a path running across the top there. How does this line up with our base? Okay, it does line up there. If I were to attempt to build a suspension bridge, we could do it. Not over these trees, though. Yeah, I'll have to get rid of these oak trees, I think. No, we just need to get higher. If we're one higher... yeah, then we can build over the top of the trees. That is nice. Also means I built the medium tank in the wrong location after all. That is the deep water pump. Deep water pump will be more annoying to move forward than this medium tank. Cool. Yeah, so I reckon the plan is we access this by bridge over the top. We get rid of these 2 floodgates, replace them with dams. Yeah. Medium tank. You are storing water. You are being emptied into other warehouses. You are obtaining goods from other warehouses. Just let that get to work. Build that by preference, please. This is a bit lower. Like, we don't need this in place until we're ready to actually access the area. Let's get the groundwork done. Couple of homeless beavers. Need to get some more shelter at some point. Gears and planks. Wonderful. Okay, yeah. Normally you would need haulers in order to actually do the obtain stuff, but that is fine. You just accept. That is done. We destroy that. Cool. Now, a little bit trickier to actually bridge across because we cannot enter a bridge from right angles. We will need a 3 high platform there. We need a set of stairs there. You there, you there. Now, how far is this gap we're looking at? And when it says 3 by 1, yeah, it means it sends 3 out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And sure, let's spend some more science, unlock the 4 by 1s. Nope. Nope. Did I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, because the end one does not count. So we did need the 4 by 1 anyway. Yeah, and then we build you there. And once that's ready, we can start overhauling this floodgate system. During a drought seems a fine time to do it. Let's actually, yeah, just delete these for now. So this equalizes out. Some flooding. That's fine. We're not making active use of the reservoir in there anyway. Need to get levy, and just dams will do. We don't need anything fancier. Yeah, let's just deprioritize the stuff down here. That'll get done when it gets done. And then with a way over here, a couple of water wheels in position, we can do some more stuff. I know, build up levees over here, get like more paths across this gap. As well as a large water wheel there. Space you, yeah, so we can have some paths running across here, which gives us space to get off of this bridge. Yeah, I like that. And that's way across, which they can now use to access these things. Let's get a path there. You're going to see, even though this is low priority, since there's only so many beavers that can work on a single building project at once, some are heading down the bottom to go work on these. Yeah, and then here we're probably just building up like another layer of triple platforms over here. Make this a single big industrial surface. Maybe we'll just assemble this piecemeal, because if I can get like some storage space underground and then build other structures on top of that, that would also be lovely. Yeah, large industrial piles, medium warehouses. We'll just see how this develops as and if I'm required to add more buildings into it. Meantime, that is good. We'll get our first large water wheel in, just there. Just so that's in position. Again, dump the resources that need dumping into it. I believe, yes, the builders from up top can even assist on that project. We'll see what sort of output this thing ends up generating. If I need to, I can even transmit power from this system over this side of the dam via this little link here. Food storage is going good. Lots of kohlrabi. Yeah. No fermented cassava. But quite a lot of stored cassava. I think getting another cassava fermenter over on this side with some more cassava storage is going to be quite important. Do I have any cassava storage? No, I have none. I need to get cassava storage over here. This inventor is quite awkward now in how it's taking up space. Do I have an effective 2x2 building to replace it with? I am not sure if I do. Which is slightly odd, like housing. Yeah, you're 3x3. I could slot a couple of row houses in there. Yeah, just because that's getting awkward, I might take away that inventor. Stick a second inventor. Somewhere else. Over here. Rotate, flip, put you there. And now we have no homeless beavers at the moment, but I mean, I can just future-proof some of the housing because the population will increase here over time. In particular, where I want you to face. Hey, a real idea, let's just face you this way and this way. Cool. And now, I was thinking about cassava storage before I got distracted. Medium warehouses. Where do I store the cassava? Yeah, I think we might just... Yeah, like here. Settle for this. This was kind of the original plan with this little bit of positioning. The other way around I want to be nice, but you can be a cassava warehouse. Yep, get some more of these in position. So, let's see. I want to get the second large water wheel in immediately. Yeah, just so I can build around this more effectively. Dump the rest of my planks in. I only have 77, so I need a few more crafted. Once that's done, I can start figuring out how to actually hook these two things up. I'll probably want the other one in as well. Actually, with all of these in, this might start getting a bit difficult to path through. Yeah, I can just... Okay, can I... Oh, no, these actually will be difficult to figure out. There are triple high platforms here and here. I might just need curving stairs in order to solve this problem. I mean, it just makes it less elegant. It's not like free space in the air through here is something that I lack. Again, we'll sort that out. Just leave the beavers to work away on that. Wait for this drought to end. We'll kind of see what this ends up looking like. And then once this drought's ended and we've looked at this waterway, it's probably ended the stream. Made some very good progress today, however. And when it comes to engineering here, what do I want this place to ultimately look like? Flooding out this area seems like an obvious way to get a nice little additional reservoir. Yeah, if we're building up on this platform, then we have 2 high that we can afford to go, which will be a lot of water. What level is that at? Okay, no, so we can only afford to go 1 high. This is 1 high, we could have a large mangrove plantation in here. That seems interesting. Yeah, and then we can like build up here easily enough to get a big old pressurized dam, kind of first in this channel and then expand it out, even up to the level of these cliffs, potentially, eventually. First things first is probably expanding down here, however. Just to make use of all this land once it's irrigated. I am curious to see what this looks like. But maybe before expanding here, I do want to get this wall done. I'll do that as part of expanding. Now I'll have to take a look and see whether this location or that location is more appealing for our 3rd district. Here we go. Water filling this up. I'll need to keep an eye on what the flooding down here does too, of course. That channel is all greening. So we did just run out of water through here. Yeah, so building up this water tower I've been talking about is another topside engineering project that will need to happen. Bad water starting to flow in here. That hits it, pushes some of it away, but more and more is going to start pouring in here. As this flows up, it's going to start backfilling. Yeah. That's interesting. Even when this is all pure, this is just too high up out of the water for it to reach to fertilize, irrigate. Yeah, we can see this place is all flooded. I might want just like a little valve or something on the side here that can just eject any spillover water. Oh yeah, look at that. We're struggling slightly to hold the water. You, however, are outputting variable 300 plus horsepower, though. I was going to say 400, but immediately dropped down to... You are still dropping. Yeah, keeping industry on a central raised platform up here should prevent it from flooding from an instance like this. Yeah, that's all overflowing over the sides. Not bad though. Ah, and you just got done. Yeah, so we're looking at still decreasing, but around 600 horsepower. So less than here on one, but combined more. And now you've jumped up again. Yeah, it's just going to be a bit variable, it looks like. Look at how this place is filling up. You're not meant to do this. You're meant to stay dry in here. Oh, well. Now, I am thinking, just looking at these two locations, that setting up my next district probably over on this side rather than over here. And I can just have some builders very slowly tinker at fixing this kind of before we settle in here. Because I don't like all that bad water. But yeah, as I was saying, however, I do think that that is probably it for today. So, thank you very much for watching, people. Thank you very much, Alad and various raiders, for coming through on the raid. Thank you very much to any VOD watchers out there potentially watching this after the fact. And I hope I'll see you all next time. I've been very thoroughly enjoying this. So, thank you, Thor, for the follow. Yeah, so should be back streaming next Sunday. So, same time, same place, probably doing some more Timberborn. I reckon, since I'm very thoroughly enjoying this, this is probably going to be my main game kind of for the next little bit. And yeah. Now, unfortunately, I am thinking that with just one person watching, it's probably not worth raiding anyone. But thank you very much, Thor, for hanging around. Thank you very much, any VOD watchers out there, and goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.